We live and we breathe this beautiful dream. We are kings, we are queens.
I speak of the African. My roots are deep in Mother Nature. My origin.
It is now my honor to introduce our symposium keynote speaker, FirstRepair board member, a 2025 MacArthur Fellow, a genius. She is a fellow UChicago Pritzker Fellow and creative genius. She is my sister, Tonika Lewis Johnson. Tonika is a photographer, social justice artist, and lifelong resident of Chicago's South Side Inglewood neighborhood. Her work, including photography, maps, and multimedia storytelling, reveals injustices and inequities in real estate, articulates the vast disparities in conditions, infrastructure, and investment between Chicago neighborhoods, and encourages us to reevaluate and create positive change. She is a co-founder of the Inglewood Arts Collective. Her ongoing project, The Folded Map, visually investigates disparities among segregated Chicago residents while bringing them together to have a conversation. Some of you may remember Tonika's presentation from 2 years ago at the symposium. All of these things, Tonika creates pathways for residents to begin the process of restitution and repair. This year, Tonika was appointed a member of the Chicago Reparations Task Force, where she joined some of her other colleagues. Chicago's in the house. Love that. In 2025, Tonika's work, Reparations Are Due, was the inaugural exhibit at the National Resource Center for State and Local Reparations. Tonika's artistic contributions have gained international recognition, including Chicagoan of the Year by Chicago Magazine, Department of Cultural Affairs, special me in welcoming my sister, our board member, a friend, a leader in the reparations movement, just an incredible genius. Follow her on all her socials. You're sure to be inspired. Tonika Lewis Johnson.
Let me. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Let me get situated here. Okay. All right, if we could. So, let me first start off, saying good afternoon, but I want to start it with complete honesty. What you're looking at on the screen, when she asked me to be the keynote, with respect, I don't think I could do it in person, because I knew I'd be speaking of all of you all, people who have been doing this work and even before I understood how my artistic practice fit within it. So I told her, you all are the experts. I'm not gonna be telling you anything that you don't already know. And Robin, in true Robin style, she did not accept that. She didn't email me back, she called me back and said, Tonika, we don't need you to tell us about reparations. She essentially said, we need you to show people what we're fighting for. And so that shifted something within me, gave me a little bit of confidence. So I want to be very clear in saying I am not here to teach you all what you already know. I'm here because as a visual artist, I work with images and, like Robin said, public spaces and streets and maps, people's homes and relationships, but most importantly, places where the truth gets hidden. And I think that's a theme that we've heard, the truth that gets hidden. So I don't just make photos or maps or installations. I try to make visible what has been made invisible in ways that connect emotionally to everyone, not only just Black people, because we need everyone to understand how we were all impacted by the harms done to Black people. And so I didn't always think that my art was reparative. I just knew I was a nerd. I loved Black history. I wanted to express it. But it wasn't until Robin and so many of you all in this room invited me into this movement space, this reparations movement space. And I learned how rich, active, deep this community is. And I realized through all of you all that my art has always been about healing and repair and reparations. I just didn't have the language for it. But with each reparations symposium, I learned the language. And being in community with you all has helped me see my own practice differently. I will show you how being in relationship with you has made me get very bold with some of my projects, audacious. This reparations movement has completely shaped my imagination. So today I want to show you how this movement helped me build my work and how my art projects are helping show Chicago what repair can look like in real time. But before I move into the first project, I need you all to know, because of this body of reparative art and this truth-telling, that is the reason that I was appointed to the Chicago Reparations Task Force, and I'm so honored to be with you all doing this work. And this moment right here with all of us is proof of what can happen when art, policy, community, and courage meet. And now I want to walk you through the work that has brought me here. I created a project called Don't Go. I believe a couple of years ago, some of you all might remember me asking this prompt question that the project is based off of. And so we're going to do it again. So this is going to be a little remix for some of you all. I want you to raise your hand if you have been told or have heard that Chicago's South Side or West Side is dangerous and don't go. Raise your hand. Raise them high. Keep them raised. Keep them raised. Now look around. Exactly. That's everybody. You can put your hands down. That's the question that I ask people to help them understand. That is present-day redlining. That is disinvestment continued. And so that advice is the new redlining, and segregation isn't just structural, it's cultural, it's inherited. And so to help people understand the emotional connection to that advice not being just casual, it is a disinvestment. I would like to ask, because I'm an artist, so this is gonna be participatory, you all. I would like to ask for 4 people to come up here to volunteer to read an excerpts of stories that are included in my Don't Go project that was turned into a book, because it is intended for people to hear these stories and understand how all of this harm impacts all of us. Thank you so much. You have the mic. You can actually read the story of Joey right there, aloud for everyone. This is an excerpt of the kind of stories that are in the Don't Go book that help people understand how saying don't go is disinvestment.
Read all 3 paragraphs?
Yep.
Okay. I boarded the Western Avenue bus near my home in Humboldt Park for a bumpy ride all the way down to 73rd Street in Inglewood, the place where I had been told if you're white, you'll be shot, robbed, and killed within minutes. But a piano needed service, and I needed the work. I got off the crowded bus and walked a few blocks to see my client, Mrs. Jones. I passed empty lots, gorgeous homes, older folks relaxing on porches, and kids playing in the streets. To be honest, I was kind of disappointed because I didn't see any of that stuff, gangs or violence. I didn't feel like my life was in danger. After I fixed the piano, I enjoyed a few pastries set out especially for me by Mrs. Jones. Her eyes welled up as she thanked me for my hard work. I didn't want to tell you this on the phone, but you were about the 6th or 7th technician I called because I couldn't get anyone to come over here. They won't service our area, and we're not the only community that suffers. After sharing a hug with Mrs. Jones, I waited with a small group of people at the bus stop on 73rd Street. 2 white police officers pulled up and said, "Excuse me, if you want, we can get you out of here. You're headed to the north side, right? We can take you there. We can get you out of here."
Thank you so much. And for your participation, you get a copy of Don't Go. Can someone please read Tiana's story?
I was born and raised in Inglewood. I had my choice of colleges that accepted me, but my uncle Elliot always told me IIT was the place to go for engineering. Growing up, I never saw anyone that looked like me at IIT when I walked around it. So I vowed to maybe be the one person that somebody might see and say, "I see someone there who's just like me. I can go to IIT too." On my first day as a student there in 2000, I remember thinking, any ethnicities that you can think of are here. I was excited to learn about new cultures. At the parent orientation event, my mom and I were shocked, to say the very least, when the presenters told the whole auditorium of mostly white and international students that it is not safe to ride the red line. And don't go east of Michigan Avenue, north of 31st Street, south of 35th Street, or west of the Dan Ryan Expressway. My mom was just disgusted. The people on stage at the orientation basically told a room full of newcomers to Chicago not to go to our neighborhoods because it was unsafe.
Thank you. I'm gonna do a couple of more. Jerry.
I needed to get a little closer. The story of Jerry. I distinctly remember going to Inglewood on the bus for the first time. I had a strong sense that I was this white dude on the bus of all black people. I had to get off the bus and stand at an intersection waiting for the next bus. You're not so worried about something happening to you on a bus, but a white dude standing on an intersection? I remember being like, okay, when they say stuff happens, this is where it goes down. This is it. This is where it happens. Text mama and tell her you love her. But it turns out it's really uneventful. Eventually, I realized that the black people on the bus weren't focused on me. They don't care. Part of whiteness seems to be that you think everybody gives a damn. Like, you think that when you're in these spaces, black folks can't help to be like, oh, who's this guy? I wonder why he's here. But black people have their own lives. They don't care why you're there. And they certainly don't care about you waiting for a bus. They don't care about you sitting on the bus. Seriously, you could write a Dr. Seuss book about this.
Thank you. And our last story, Adrian.
Adrian. Shortly after I bought my new car when I was 17, I drove down to see my grandma, who lives in Beverly. I got off at the wrong exit. We didn't have Google Maps or anything like that, and I didn't know where I was. So I called my grandparents to ask for directions. They lost it. They said I was in a very dangerous place. They were so freaked out for me, and then I got freaked out too. When I finally got to my grandparents' house, they were really mad. So I was really scared. Now I'm 34 years old, and I had never, ever gone to any place on the South Side other than my grandma's house. So I started to get off the highway at places I was told to never, ever go. It was not what I thought. It's just neighborhoods and nice homes. I was angry that I just blindly believed everything I was taught.
Thank you. So as you can see, this is an example of the kind of truth-telling that I like to create space for in my projects. And so I want to just share with you what Adrienne learned about her participation in my Don't Go project.
I mean, I feel like they were just being overprotective, but they're part of, they're buying into the larger narrative that they've been told. And
Oh, I didn't do that, y'all, I swear. Let me get it back.
And Adrienne, do you think your parents and grandparents at the time, do you think they were being protective of you, once you learned you had made that mistake of taking the wrong exit? And what was it that you felt they were probably protecting you from?
I mean, I feel like they were just being overprotective, but they're part of, they're buying into the larger narrative that they've been told. And it was never really clear what would happen if you got up at the wrong exit or if you were hanging out at the South Side, but I got the impression it was dangerous and something bad would happen. And so just not even take that chance.
And Adrienne, since participating in this project, would you give us a quick sense of how you sort of participate in changing the narrative?
Yeah, so since this project, I've gone to the South Side a few times. I've seen for myself that the things that, the don't go to the South Side narrative is not true, and I've been trying to unlearn that behavior. I have a storefront here on the North Side, and for a while I was inviting Black artists to come to my shop and show their work and sell their work so that they could see my neighborhood, but also so my neighbors could meet them and start to maybe form some relationships between North and South Side and break up the segregation and the narrative that has been so prominent in the city.
So this project and my others have really helped me understand that when people can participate in truth-telling and when they can feel the truth being told, they can reimagine something different. And this understanding is what prepared me for the project that came before it. the foundation of everything that I've done since, folded map. In 2018, it was an art exhibit at Loyola University Museum of Art, but many people found out about folded map through the media coverage of it. So I want to introduce you in the same way that Chicago encountered it. Thank you.
The difference in the numbers, Anthony. 61,000 versus 500,000 plus. But it's a perfect example to show that story in the same day that we did the 110 project.
Yes.
Because it shows you that it starts there.
Yes.
And that's why this disparity and pointing out the disparity. Because I know there are many white people who can say, well, I don't have the privilege either.
It's not ancient. It's not ancient history.
No.
The legacy of these practices from the mid-century are with us today, and they will continue to be with us because the value of these homes is the value of these homes. Yeah. And the question now, as we become aware of it, is what are we going to do about it?
And recognizing that it is an issue.
Yeah.
Is a major problem in this country.
And as long as that economic disparity continues to exist, we will have these differences over time.
So much more than planting a garden together. It's very lovely, but it's so much more than that.
Like, shade? I said, Gail, you don't know nothing. That is organizing. Chicago knows how to do it. Evanston knows how to do it. It happens in church basements. It happens in ballrooms like this. It happens over barbecue. That's organizing. But anyway, I didn't create Folded Map to show myself anything. I created it to be a contribution to Chicago's conversation about segregation, to visualize it in a way that I felt it hadn't been done before. And so to make segregation visible in a new way, plainly, directly, and emotionally, I knew that I didn't want to just focus on segregation. I wanted to also show the symptoms, but I wanted to dig deeper and confront the cause. And so once I learned about mid-century predatory housing practice of land sale contracts, I couldn't unsee it. I could not let my city look away. I learned that my neighborhood, just my one neighborhood, had over 600 land sale contract homes. And I knew that in all of Chicago, we had a documented over 3,000. And I knew that it was very important for my city to be able to understand this history and how it impacts Black neighborhoods today. The neighborhoods that were impacted by land sale contracts, that was the epicenter of it, are the same neighborhoods you were told to not visit on the south and west side of Chicago. So I wanted to explain how this came to be and how my home of Greater Inglewood was deeply impacted. So of course, I had to create another project, okay? And I did. I created a project called Inequity for Sale. And Inequity for Sale was a project that I created 13 landmarkers for the 600 plus homes in Greater Inglewood that were essentially stolen from aspiring Black homeowners in the 50s and 60s. And I would like to invite someone to read what the actual landmarker says, because I made it very clear what I believed in and what I felt should be done. And this was a project that was in 2020 and 2021.
At 6823 South Aberdeen was legally stolen from Black couple Mr. and Mrs. James and Lula Malone on October 30th, 1963, in a widespread land sale contract scam. This crime was never brought to justice. Reparations are due.
Thank you. This project means a lot to me because it was the project where I started to want to learn more about reparations, and it was the project that eventually connected me to Robin Ruth Simmons. And so I want to share with you media coverage of that project. And it is by no accident that I'm showing you all this media coverage that is a part of my artistic practice. Black neighborhoods all over the country, in major cities, and I'm using Chicago as an example, are bullied in the media space. And so I knew that if this information, this history, and the solutions were going to be popularized, it had to be in the same space that we were bullied in, which is the media. So this is media coverage of Inequity for Sale. So, thank you. So after mapping harm at that level, I had to ask myself, if I can document harm to Black homeowners, what does it look like to demonstrate what repair is? And as you can see, I was already starting to think about repair and using my platform to imagine how I could influence that. And that is the direct result of me being in relationship with you all. And so that question brought me to my next project, Unblocked Inglewood. And it was this particular landmarker that really set the foundation. So I wanted to think about repair, not theoretical repair, but the type of healing that must happen for the people who are on my landmarkers and their families. And so I actually got connected to Doc and Johnella Wall's son after I put this landmarker up. And we started to reimagine together. His name is Mr. Walls. And he was the one that told me about how his family finished the land sale contract. Took them 20 years to do it. They didn't earn any equity. And in that time, the entire neighborhood, as you saw from the map, everybody was going through it. The devaluation of the neighborhood occurred, and so their home was essentially worth nothing. And so they sold it and purchased the house that he lives in across the street. And it was Mr. Walls who told me that I appreciate the fact that my parents provided this home for me, but I can't afford to keep it. I can't even afford to do the repairs. And so that's when I knew as an artist that I did not want to do another project to demonstrate the harm, but to collaborate with someone directly impacted by this mid-century discriminatory practice to reimagine what repairing his life and restoring his dignity would look like. And so that's when we all started working on Unblocked Inglewood. And this is what that project is.
I've been living in Inglewood since 1965. My father was in the military. He bought the house across the street, 6529. And when he bought the house, for my knowledge, everything was all right. I didn't know that he had been taken advantage of. He just did what he needed to do to keep his home. And then one day I was looking out the window and I saw him putting a sign up in front of my old house, but I didn't know what the sign was saying.
Chicago and Tonika Johnson.
Tonika Lewis Johnson, a social justice artist.
A new approach to bridging divides in Chicago.
The Fulton Map Project looks at gentrification and segregation.
This is such an important story.
Now a local artist is highlighting those injustices by working to revitalize vacant lots in Inglewood. It's part of her latest project, Unblocked Inglewood.
We're gonna go to 63rd and Halsey to see if they have the Sunday Tribune. So I can see the actual article about Unblocked Inglewood in print. Hold it in my hand.
took everything out the neighborhood.
I met people who now 70 years old telling me, oh no, I remember when I was little and my family moved in 2 weeks, all the white people were gone. And so when you think about what funds a public school, home ownership, property taxes, when you're in a neighborhood that has been denied the opportunity to have high home ownership, that's how you end up with a neighborhood like Greater Inglewood. This particular project was really born out of my fascination with the Plunder of Black Wealth in Chicago report that was published in 2018.
A land sale contract was an alternative to a traditional mortgage. The home buyer would not get the deed until they paid half of the contract price. You miss one payment, you lose everything. You gain no equity. There was lots of lost equity as a result of the land sale contracts. Say the Johnson family purchases their home on contract in the 50s or 60s, and the purchase price on their contract says it's $30,000. The actual value of that home is likely about $17,000. So that $13,000 they could have saved and invested in a retirement account or sent their children to private school. They actually lost that $13K. We had dollar amounts and we were able to quantify that approximately $4 billion was extracted from the Black community just in this process of contract sales, which is a result of redlining. So redlining itself was much more than that because it included the rental system as well as other mechanisms where people were extracted from because they couldn't get traditional financing from savings and loan at the time.
Yeah, we all in downtown areas, different banks, trying to get a mortgage. It allows you to even fill out an application and they file, they just want to know where was the house located. When I was giving them the address, they said we don't loan money in that area.
This is the actual proof. This is the direct consequence of those land sale contracts. The very homes that Black people were denied the opportunity to own are now vacant lots, vacant buildings, and deteriorating buildings in this neighborhood. But then the next surprise is actually meeting people who were the children of those people.
Need new doors is all tore up under the bottom. We need new radiators for the heat. And fixtures on the wall, all the fixtures. My name is Melvin Walls, the son of Dr. John L. Walls. My mother, when she passed away 2018, and then I became the owner of this house. This is the kitchen area right here. And you see the floors and everything is just too much. You know, I'm up in age. And you know, it's too late for me to turn around and, you know, go somewhere else. But it's just that, you know, it's so much work to be done.
I view them as the engine of this neighborhood. And if they can afford to get plumbing repaired, foundation repaired, roof repaired, then what is going to become of this neighborhood? I wanted to use a project to help them get free repairs, no cost for them.
We know the gravity of the situation, we know how much money was extracted. How do we figure out how to put that money back in a meaningful way that undoes the harm that was done many generations ago?
I am sitting with TJ, and we're like, what can we do? How can we help? It seemed like a godsend. Great opportunity disappeared from the city of Chicago, and it was the Together We Heal Creative Placemaking Grant.
The federal government has put out the American Rescue Plan, which provided funding to start to engage in recovery acts.
The thing that made Tonika's project stand out, and I think what we look for more than that, anything else, are artists that show sort of a deep commitment to a particular community. Art promotes healing in that it gives us opportunities sort of to collectively work together towards furthering our goals and objectives.
Unblocked is ultimately arts, redirecting it into beautification of already standing structures like folks' homes.
There you go, baby. I'll be looking for you. All right. Give Jimmy them numbers. Okay. All right, baby. Good seeing you. Right now, we're going to pass out flyers for our next Unblocked meeting, which will be held on Wednesday. I want you at the meeting, here. Now, no excuse. No excuse. And you'll be at the meeting or move. All the tenants as well as owners to come out to this meeting to be involved. Looking at the properties in this area, which is where I grew up at, go down, deteriorating. I said it's got to be something that can be done. This property here, I've had 3 years, and I renovated the first floor. Now I'm working on the second floor. Being a young lady at the time, 23 years old, I ran into a guy that I was talking with, and he told me, why not buy? And I was afraid, I was scared, young, no husband, dumb, super fly. And I said, and I found that what I got in the real estate would cover what I made it worth. Last year was the first time I raised rent in 10 years. When it comes to repairs, it's hard. Material is high. Labor is high. People don't have that kind of money. Unblocked came in along with the Chicago Bungalow Association, did wonders. We were able to do electric, plumbing, roofs. They came out and worked with us, and you would have thought they were family. This is the upstairs bedroom, and they did installation in here, put in new vanities, new toilets. They put a new roof upstairs, up on this right here. They put a new roof on the house. The unity that has transpired out of this block in the last year has been unbelievable. They got guys on this block right here that we wasn't even talking. It's just about the whole community together. Don't sell no drugs over here, baby. Ain't no take everything in here. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't got to call no police. Not in 6500 block here. Call me, I'm the police. If you see me coming in, call police.
About home records, it was about reparations that are due and what comes next and how do we right this wrong. So we've done things that are important with the maintenance and the home improvement work. But there's more that people want and that they need.
I want to quit too many times. You just said, forget it. You know, I think the house is worth keeping. And I know there's a lot of organizations out there that's willing to help if they know about it.
Talking about segregation in Chicago is not easy. When I think about artists like Tonika, who are trying to address a collective challenge that we face as a city, and that art is speaking to lots of residents, that art is inspiring folks, that art is connecting folks, in ways that, quite frankly, the city could never do.
That this iteration is just about safety and security. But there's a level to this that we want to take it. We want to go higher to restore dignity. So we've done things that are important with the maintenance and the home improvement work. But there's more that people want and that they need just to fill a hole in their homes.
I'm hoping that this block will become a role model for the impact community. If we can do it, you can do it.
Thank you. So that is Unblocked. That specific block has 22 homes on it. It has nearly 80 residents who live on that block, as well as 22 vacant lots. We have done repairs totaling close to $1 million. And thank you. And we were able, the kinds of repairs that we were doing, you saw roofs, electrical, plumbing, exterior. But since then, as a result of this community helping me think bold and audacious and the sisterhood and guidance of Robin, I was able to get enough courage to fundraise more. Because why just $1 million? Let's try 2. And we were able to secure $2 million in funding to do additional repairs over the next 3 years, but not just critical repairs, wish list renovations. And so I want to share with you just a snippet of me telling this beautiful block of people who are, I consider my grandparents, me telling them that all of the hard work we've been doing, the relationship building, the fundraising, has worked. We've raised the first $1 million outside of the money we received already. So this is them hearing it for the first time.
Raise money to finish repairing the remaining homes on the block. Look, new side, there it is, all right there. I wanted you to know that the goal that we had, this $1 million fundraising goal, you remember we were talking about that all last year? I was like, I don't know how we gonna get there, y'all, but we gonna get there. The $1 million fundraising goal that we have reached. Is our official donor partner.
It's just really exciting to be here with all of you. This is such a special community. These are such special people. The trust is really trying to focus on how longtime residents and homeowners get the support that they need to stay in their homes. And this is a big step in that direction.
Looking out for one another. That's what we're about.
So Mr. Walls finally got that new siding on his house. We gave them, created with them, a new block club sign. We started to put art murals on the block because at first, before the repair started, the residents were like, we don't want any art or anything that can attract people to come look. Now they want art everywhere. This is Miss Justine's building. She was so proud that she finally got a lot of the repairs she needed. She wanted to offer her building as a place for a mural, and we commissioned a young emerging artist to do this mural, and now she is using this as part of her portfolio. We even commissioned another artist named Kenya to do sculptures on the block, to put them on top of the vacant lots that we have been helping the residents acquire. There's 22 vacant lots on the block. We've used the grant funding to help the residents acquire and purchase them because they've been taking care of them anyway. And so now we have 8 of those vacant lots that the residents now own, and Kenya's sculptures are on top of them. One of my fellow Inglewood Arts Collective co-founders, Janelle Nelson, she designed a beautiful sculpture for the Inglewood Music Festival, but because we don't have gallery spaces in our neighborhood, she didn't have anywhere to put it afterwards, and so the residents of Unblocked said they wanted it on their block, and so now this is on one of the vacant lots that we've helped the residents own. And we even collaborated with another big sister artist of mine, Amanda Williams, and we painted one of the residents' home this beautiful historic blue, and I want to just share with you a short clip of what this blue pigment paint is and how meaningful it is.
Amanda is my big sister in art, okay? Her color theory project, which debuted when I was working on my folded map project, inspired me so much. She understands it, she's doing work that is in conversation with it. So this is 65th and Aberdeen. This is the block connected to my latest project that's really an initiative. It's called Unblock Inglewood. And I am helping these residents revitalize their block by giving them free home repairs, helping them acquire city-owned vacant lots that they've been taking care of for years.
When I had got released from prison several years ago, I was working for this guy named Mr. Ray. They killed him on Main Street. So what happened was he left me this building, he left me another building. I turned it into a transitional home for guys that didn't have no place to go because when I first came home, it was kind of difficult at first.
George Washington Carver. In addition to being a scientist, he was an artist himself, and he received a patent in 1927. So the patent is to make this blue that we created. So I took about 2 years to remake the blue with some chemistry students.
not to have nothing, to having something. It's hard to let someone take it away from you. So you fight hard to keep what you got.
This is the kind of perfect iteration of what I think George Washington Carver imagined when he is putting these bulletins together, when he is giving these instructions, when he is offering color and beauty. We're delivering. And I could have never imagined when I started this journey with this color that this is where we would land.
So this reparations movement proves that repair is possible, and all of you all have shown me that we don't have to wait for permission. I don't have to wait for permission. We can repair, we can heal, and reimagine right now while we fight for national and local reparations. And my projects are just a contribution to this movement, just like yours. And I just want my work and this keynote to remind us to stay encouraged, that we are making progress, that your work, your knowledge, you all being inclusive in this space is inspiring and reaching people way more than you all know. And I just wanted to share with you that I'm one of those people. So thank you so much, and stay encouraged. Thank you.